All right, I want to talk a little bit about what's called well-formed formulas. Anytime you have these statements, you have all these things like these, you have these statements where you have, you know, this and that, this or that. But what you learn is you learn that in mathematics, if you have something like 2 plus 2 divided by 4, well, depending upon, for example, if I type that in here, do it 2 plus 2. Where's my division sign? I don't think, I guess they don't have it. I have to find it. But anyway, 2 plus 2 divided by 4. Now, if this is saying, this could mean two things. This could mean 2 plus 2 divided by 4, and it could also mean 2 plus 2 divided by 4. So if it's this one, our mathematical value is 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, divided by 4 is 1. But if it's this one, it's 2 plus 2 fourths is 1/2, so it would be 2.5. So where those parentheses lie makes a big difference. Well, the same thing's true with this in logic, that we're going to need to use some parentheses because most of our statements aren't going to be things like either or, this or that, blank and blank. It's going to become more complex. It's going to say Bill is there and either Sally or Sue is there, or if Bill is there and Sue is there, then Sal will be there or Roberta will be there. It's going to be these sentences that become more complex. And what you have is you translate that, you would have this problem where you go, okay, if I just put that all in one line and I don't put any marks to show which things are connected, am I meaning, if I say something like Bill and Sheila or Bob will be there, am I meaning Bill and Sheila will be there or Bob will be there? Or am I saying Bill will be there and Sheila or Bob will be there? Where exactly are we? So we need these parentheses to help to organize it, just as you would in mathematics. And so essentially we get these what we call well-formed formulas, and that's saying how are these sentences connected in a way that actually works. And the idea here is there's some rules. There's only one main connective for an entire compound. There will always be a main connective. Even if you have a statement that if this and that, then not this and not that, then this or this, if and only if that, and you have this really long sentence, there's still only one main operator. So always remember there's always one main operator. And what happens is you'll have open and close parentheses and braces to help separate out everything else. And within each of those parentheses or brackets, you'll have a main operator. And if there's two operators within it, you're going to need parentheses to distinguish. No, the brackets, the one is between the individual letter and the parentheses. Then you'll need to know that each letter has to be connected. Like if you have a dot, wedge, triple bar, or horseshoe, you're always going to need that to be between statements or parentheses. It can't be just off at the edge. You can't have a letter with a dot and nothing else. The dot, wedge, triple bar, and horseshoe are all relational. They have to go between parentheses and parentheses, or parentheses and letters, or letters and letters, or letters and brackets, but they cannot just simply sit there by themselves. And you can't have two letters in a row. PR. What does PR mean? Does it mean, is that a wedge that's supposed to be there? Is that supposed to be a horseshoe that's there? What exactly is supposed to be in this spot? That's our question. And so what you need is you need to have parentheses, or you can't have these letters together. You have to have a letter between them, or I'm sorry, an operator between them. Tilde is a little bit different. Tildes can't go before operators, but they can go before letters, they can go before parentheses, and you can have more than one tilde, because tilde means not. So like this means not are, and that's fine. This actually means, this tilde here means it's not the case that if not P, or I'm sorry, it's not the case that it is not P and not R. So essentially, the tilde can go in front of parentheses and go in front of letters. You can do more than one. The only thing you can't do is put a tilde here in front of the operator, or you can't just leave a tilde at the end dangling. They have to go before things, and they can't go before operators. And so those are our basic rules for this. Now let's go back here real quick and talk about some of these translations. The tilde, as we talked about, is basically just saying, not. It's not something. So, the defendant is not guilty. G is guilty, not. We put the tilde there. It's not true that Germany having left NATO, we put a tilde there. Sorry. None of the OPEC countries have lowered gas. Since none is saying not one, and then we're also going to put a tilde there. The other thing is sometimes the tilde go in front of parentheses, like the word neither means not either or not both. If the not goes before the word either or both, that means the tilde should go out in front of the parentheses, because that means something different than tilde s, wedge, tilde e. The only time it would go inside the parentheses is if it came after the either, or after the both, or after the compound subject. Okay? Next one is dot. Dot translates words like and, but, as I mentioned, moreover, also, etc. And here's a case: Albania rejects the truth, and either Bulgaria concedes or Croatia triumphs. The and is the main operator, so we're going to put a dot and then parentheses the either statement in parentheses. I'll give you more examples of this when we get to the homework. So don't worry if I'm going through this. Look at these boxes in the book, because these are pretty important, if you kind of understand how each of these translates. Either or, we use the wedge. Unless we use the wedge, unless can go before. And then once again, the neither means not either, means the two in parentheses are together, but the not goes in front of the entire statement. But if the either is before the word not, then it goes with the individual letters. Next one is horseshoe. Horseshoe is translating an if-then, so you can have basically if Spain beats the opponent, then we'll advance in the finals. If you live in Chicago, you're in Illinois. But don't think just because it's in a certain order, that's right. The word if signals the antecedent. And so if you say you are in Illinois if you are in Chicago, the C, the if part, is the antecedent, and so it goes before. And anytime you say something is the antecedent, or if you say something is a necessary conditional, the necessary condition, if you remember, always goes after the horseshoe. It's the consequent. And so you would always put that as the part after. So it is a necessary condition for being accepted. Being accepted is a necessary condition, meaning it's going to go after the horseshoe. Now, if you say something like being cool is not necessary for being a member of the group, then you're saying, that rule is not necessary. Same thing here, because it's basically negating that rule. And finally, the last one is triple bar. And triple bar is basically anytime you use the words if and only if. And basically you will use that, or if you say something is a necessary and sufficient condition, or something requires and suffices, anything that says that these two things must always be true at the same time, we use the triple bar. Now the only exception would be you can negate the stuff within, but if you said not dying is a necessary and sufficient for staying alive, then we put the tilde down in front. But if you put it as, because it's not dying, but if it's being elite is not a necessary and sufficient condition, it's a not a necessary and sufficient condition, it's negating the entire relationship. Okay? So it's kind of important to think about what these sentences are saying as to where the main premise will, or as to where the main letter will go, as well as how you're going to translate it. Alright, we're going to do some problems in the homework, and hopefully that'll help you a little bit get a better idea.